Meeting 28 in the summer of 95 and 36 sprint cars turning out for Pedders suspension, War of the Stars.
Let's check the grid for the first heat over 8 laps. Stephen Horn, Norm Jackson on the front row. On the comeback trail, Dennis Farr on the second row inside. Alongside is Brooke Tatnell in a borrowed car this evening. Row 3, Max Dumsney and Peter Kraft. Row 4, Skip Jackson and Jamie Jones. And tailing out the Pedders man, Stephen Gall. Away we go. Norm Jackson gets the jump as they go to turn number 1. Oops, trouble there for Max Dumsney in car 69. Recovers, but not before Skip Jackson gets through.
And that's Brooke Tatnell in the unfamiliar colours, the black 99 car of car owner Sid Moore back in second.
The CR&D 99 car running in second spot as they open up on lap number 2 with Norm Jackson, the former speed car driver, still heading the parade. Tatnell raced in Adelaide last night. That's the reason he's out of his own car. Notice coming through there, Phil, on the inside is Peter Kraft looking very determined.
Oh, a wet banging of wheels in the battle for second.
Last weekend, Kraft got upside down, got in another car, this particular car, and went on to run second in the feature race, and it looks like he's had a change of attitude. He is taking the racing aggressively, very seriously, and now is a definite threat on the inside of Norm Jackson in the back straight. Kraft goes through to take the lead. A fine performance so far. There's Brooke Tatnell relegated to third.
Tatnell heading down the back straight, looking to take second, and roars into turn 3, claiming second spot. There's Brooke in the black 99 car.
Doesn't take his racing casually, even though this is a borrowed car. Spent a lot of time this week with Sid Moore setting up the CR&D entry, so it was to his liking.
Third place man Norm Jackson managing to hold off Dennis Farr.
Back to the home straight, and you can see Brooke Tatnell going on with the job, but long gone, in fact, out of camera range, is Peter Kraft, who looks a very short price favourite for tonight's main event, sponsored by Pedders. There's Kraft, takes the 86 car once more to turn number 1. He, in fact, could put a lap on Max Dumsney in an 8-lap heat. That's how hot he's running. Back towards the main straight, the checkered flag awaits. Whoops! He could get into someone else's accident. Sneaks through on the inside, claims victory. Brooke Tatnell home for second. Horn doesn't finish at all. Norm Jackson officially home third. Set now for heat number 2, a hot field. Let's check it out. Todd Wanless of Queensland on the front row with local driver Keith Beasley. Second row is Gary Rush. He's with Bruce White. Row 3, Barry Kelleher and Ashley Anthony. Further back to Kerry Madsen and Brett Loadsman. Stephen Graham and Mark Perovich. Troy Shields at the back of the field. Up for a start. Wanless and Beasley will fight this one out. The number 11 car goes to turn number 1 and in front. Beasley in second. There's Rush running in third. At the top turn for the first time, Wanless, who has not shone in Sydney for several meetings.
Brett Loadsman's gone round.
Well, Loadsman hasn't. Oh, no, Kerry Madsen's in that again. Madsen is always in someone else's accident. Steps out of the car. Watch the body language. Oh, yeah, I don't believe it, he says. If there's an accident, you can guarantee someone will bring Kerry Madsen into it. It looks like he's out, but it's Loadsman back in. Loadsman looked straight ahead as he drove off to rejoin the field. Ready to go once more. The race to turn number 1. Rush looking threatening now. He slips in behind the Queenslander Wanless as they go down the back straight.
Rush spent many years chasing young Todd's father around the tracks, and now he's got to do it with his son Todd. There he is, Todd Wanless in car 11, and the 10 times national champ Gary Rush back in 2.
And if you think Rush looks serious, you're not wrong. This is the tail end of the season. Big prize money at stake in just a few more weeks in the Peter Jackson Sprint Car Premiership Series, which Rush leads, but closing in on him is Robert Farr. So Rush wants to make every poster winner this evening. That's why he's switched on and determined to chase the 11 car all the way to the wire.
And he's also chasing that $20,000 bonus, and Rush loves dollars.
Down the back straight, Todd Wanless is determined to hold him out. This is important. Rush's only entry to tonight's Stars Dash is by a win, and as time runs out, it looks like he's going to be denied that entry for the second week in a row.
And Wanless doing a sensational job in the Couriers Express Sprinter there, the number 11 car. I hope their Couriers are the quick as Todd is.
Okay, we're now 2 laps away from the final of this heat, and as you can see, Rush put the nose down but got cut off. Wanless is driving in a very determined style, comes back to the main straight, knows he's just got to keep it together for one more lap, and he will deny Rush a start in tonight's final. They round the top turn into the back straight, looking relaxed and, as I say, very determined, is Todd Wanless, the Queenslander who's made Parramatta City Raceway his weekend home. Up the main straight, and victory is Todd Wanless's. Once the Australian Summer Speedway season draws to a close, many of our sprint car top guns will be packing their helmets and heading stateside to chance their luck. Unfortunately, in the past, success on a major scale has proven very elusive, which raises the question, how come the locals do so well on home turf, but not in the USA?
We race on quarter-mile tracks over here, and over there they're half-mile and 5/8 tracks mainly, and to race on them, you know, you're going 30, 40 mile an hour quicker, and it's just that speed difference. But, you know, if you stay over there and just keep at it, it comes to you, you know, and these young blokes have been going over there for the last few years, and they're getting the hang of it.
They are true professionals in America. They do it 5 nights a week, a lot of them at the same track, so they are very, very difficult to beat there. And Steve Kinser is a prime example. He's one of the only Americans that has been able to come to Australia and dominate. And you take any of those NASCAR guys out and put him in a sprint car, and Steve Kinser will lap him.
So are you going over this time for a holiday and a bit of racing, or is it full-on professional?
No, I want to, if I can, run the same cars I'm running here, same type of chassis, and try and do a few more laps with it and understand the car a lot better, and hopefully that'll make us a lot quicker next year.
Well, in 1995, I hope to win a couple more races in Knoxville. And last year we ran third in the track championship, so I hope to improve to at least first or second in that. That's our main objective, and hopefully win a bunch of other races and be competitive everywhere we go.
How many rides have you got in all?
The Australian ride and the American ride, that's about it.
On track now for the Don Steen Stateside Sizzler, and a hotter six-pack you won't see anywhere.
Glad you got that out. Okay, let's check the grid. Peter Attard on the front row with Robert Farr, we were just talking to. Wayne Skipper is in the second row with Todd Wanless, who's really running hot tonight. And in row number 3, Peter Kraft and Stephen Graham. 2 tickets, return tickets to West Coast USA at stake in this point score. Currently, Phil, in front we've got
Peter Kraft from Robert Farr. Peter Kraft on 37 points, Robert Farr on 34.
Guarantee they'll be serious in this one. 6 of the best over 6 laps. We have a start and a hard run to turn number 1. Attard narrowly in front, but it's Robert Farr saying, get out of the way, I need the points desperately. Back to the home straight, 1 lap down, 5 to go. Peter Kraft trying to move through the field. He's currently in 4th. In 3rd is Wanless. Look at Kraft. Out of my way. He's as determined as Robert Farr. But at the moment, Farr is much better positioned, coming up the inside. As Celine Dion would say, this is getting serious.
What a sensational move that was. Robbie Farr out into the lead as Peter Attard fights back.
Attard trying to play spoiler. Farr now the race leader. Valuable points for him. And in 3rd is Peter Kraft trying to go on with the job. At least if he can claim Attard, he doesn't lose too many points to the fast-flying man in the Peter Jackson Nationals entry. Back to the main straight.
There he is, our race leader, Robbie Farr. 2nd place, Peter Attard. 3rd, Peter Kraft.
The 32-year-old Peter Attard driving well this season, and he looks like he's playing spoiler for 2nd as they go down the back straight. Time is running out. Here's Kraft. Look at him come through on the inside. He's not done yet. Running into the final lap, there's Kraft on the inside saying, move back.
And the Valtel entry goes into 2nd place, and Peter Attard shuffle back into 3rd.
Race leader remains Farr, and there's the victory flag.
And Don Steen Stateside Sizzler now led by Rob Farr from 1 point from Peter Kraft.
More sprint car action later in today's edition of Speed Week. Right now, it's Formula Brabham time. We cross to Greg McShane and Paul Ryan.
Round 17 of the rich Peter Jackson Sydney Sprint Car Premiership.
Drivers saluting the paying public at Parramatta City Raceway. Rows of 4 as they come to the main straight. A most impressive sight, and one appreciated by the huge crowd on hand. Let's check the grid for the big one tonight. Rod Bright and Norm Jackson off the front. Grant Tunks, Barry Kelleher in row 2. Graham and Farr, Dennis Farr in row 3. Loadsman and Skipper further back. And right towards the tail of the field, Rush, Tatnall, Lansley, Madsen, Dumsney, and a field of 21 to face the starter. Expensive machinery, a lot of talent, lined up and ready to go before an appreciative crowd. on the 450-metre clayway at Parramatta Raceway. Ready for a start. They head to turn number 1. Full throttle on. And it's Norm Jackson grabbing the early lead. Down the back straight, Rod Bright, one of the rookies, runs in second and gets a shunt. Around the outside, very wide, comes Tatnall in a borrowed car. Bright remains in front. Dumsney trying to come through the field. There's Loadsman in the 33 car.
But it's Dennis Farr who's gone up to claim second spot.
Dennis Farr, 50 years of age, only 2 weeks back in the saddle after a 4-year layoff. He's looking sharper than his son, who's at the back of the field and battling his way through.
Caution lights.
What's happened here? Well, we've got Kerry Madsen locked up into an incident with Brooke Tatnall. Both cars heading for the pits. Bad luck. Jeez, it continues for Kerry Madsen, doesn't it?
And it's restart time.
Back towards the main straight. Former speed car driver Norm Jackson will lead them away. And you were right earlier, you identified Dennis Farr as looking sharp in this one, Phil. There he is in the blue Peter Jackson Nationals Lander Toyota entry. He's running in second, and I wonder how he'll cope with a 25-lap distance.
50 years of age. It's great to see these guys still getting around Parramatta City Raceway as quick as they are.
Well, I certainly didn't think he'd be this competitive so soon after coming back after a long retirement, but he's looking as though he could almost challenge for the lead. Up the main straight, Bright starting to slip off the pace. That allows Grant Tunks to come through. Brett Loadsman is still there. No, he's not. Loadsman has upended in a big way on his own.
Oh, I hope everyone's seen the caution.
They have now. The field shuts down. Loadsman about to be released from the 33 car. He's been in the wars in recent weeks. Let's go back and take a look at what actually happened. Look at the body language. Absolute disgust. Walks away from the 33 car. This is how it happened. You'll just see him coming into frame as the car digs in. Yes, all on his own. Gee, they can bite you unless you treat them with respect.
Yes, our STP Suzuki replay showing all the action there as they come up for a restart.
Well, we've lost Tatnall, we've lost Madsen, now we've lost car 33, Brett Loadsman. A rate of attrition as they come back to the start line, and Farr is still there. First time tonight as they run to turn number 1 that we've seen Skip Jackson. He's making his way through the field. He started out at position number 13. Well, come on, Farr, get on with the job. He looks like he's got the talent and the determination to take the lead away from young Norm Jackson. Can he do it? The rest of the posse are closing in to the back straight. He's done it.
And there's Farr and a great result for grey horsepower.
He said to everyone who would listen that he was only coming back to have a couple of rides before selling the car. Does that look like a guy who's about to hang up his helmet again?
He certainly doesn't.
Stephen Graham for the first time tonight coming through the pack. Here's the dark horse, the winner of last weekend's feature race in the black number 7 car. That's Skip Jackson. And is that Peter Craft? It is.
And the heavy hitters are on the gas tonight.
Trouble in turn number 1. The Pedders entry. This is sponsored by Pedders tonight, but it's not going to be won by their driver, Stephen Gall. Bad luck continues. Gall, I think, out of the feature race. Well, Dennis Farr, I mean, Phil, stamina would have to play a part here now. This, the G-forces and everything else involved in running 700 horsepower cars around High Bank Clay Oval. Dennis Farr has done well to get to the lead and is serious about going on with this feature race.
And handled the restart well. He really got the jump. But there's our charger, Skip Jackson in the black number 7 car.
Jackson has a look on the outside. Stephen Graham holding down low as they once more move up the main straight. Peter Craft is next in line. Craft just waiting for Jackson to step out of line. Jackson now gets one pass in hand and comes to the tail of car number 25, the Valvoline entry of Brian Linigans. Race leader remains Dennis Farr. Stamina holding up at this stage. There's Jackson on the outside. He makes his move. Stephen Graham will hold his line. Has Jackson got the power to go around the outside? No, so he goes to the inside.
This is the battle for second.
Well, a clean pass on the inside. Jackson certainly coming good, hitting top form at the end of the season. A clear victory last Saturday night, and look at this, he's on the march again. It's still Dennis Farr, the race leader.
Peter Craft back in 4th in car 86, the Valtel entry challenging for 3rd.
Blue is certainly the popular colour among sprint car drivers this season. Down low is Craft. Again, we're seeing the aggression that we saw earlier in tonight's heats as Peter Craft picks up one more spot. Still back in fourth is car 25, Stephen Graham. And you see in fifth place, the son of the leader. That's 21-year-old Robbie Farr.
Speedway, a great family sport, whether you're competing or spectating.
A lot of second and third generations competing in the sport. You're right, Phil. Let's watch this enthralling battle as Peter Kraft puts it to Skip Jackson. Kraft is driving on the best we've seen him so far this season. I think the accident he had last weekend really gave him reason to sit down and contemplate how serious he was about his racing. In the main straight, we've still got Dennis Farr leading this parade. His son has done a top job to get through into fourth place, but the battle we're watching now is for the lead. In the Pedders sprint car main, it's car number 9, Dennis Farr, who must be tiring.
Now they're coming up to lap back markers. Dennis Farr hasn't had a lot of race experience lately. How's he going to handle the back markers? This could be the spot where Skip Jackson takes advantage.
Jackson leaves no racing room. Farr, I think, didn't want to argue the toss. And look at this, on the inside, sneaking through, almost unseen, was Peter Kraft, who again gets on the inside of Skip Jackson. He doesn't want Jackson to get away from him. Again, looks to the inside. Good sprint car racing.
The battle for the lead as they make their way through back markers. There's our race leader, the Gibson Freight entry, Skip Jackson.
Trying to thread through lap traffic. Gnawing at him again on the inside is Peter Kraft. We're seeing top flight sprint car action. Out of range at the moment is Dennis Farr, who's fading a little bit, as you would expect.
And he might be fading, but his son Robert's not. Robert's coming up to challenge Farr for third.
Well, is car number 7, Skip Jackson, now secure? You would think so. The laps are running out. He's comfortably getting past slower traffic, but Peter Kraft is just staying on racing terms with him all the way to the wire.
You're never secure when you've got Peter Kraft back in second spot aboard the Valtel entry.
We're talking about families a little earlier in the piece. Robbie Farr is now dueling out of range with his father for third. As they move up the main straight, there's Gary Rush. We haven't seen Rush so far in tonight's main.
And an important night for Rush if he wants to hang on to those leading points in the Peter Jackson Sprint Car Premiership.
Rush has been out of form the last couple of weeks, or at least he's had motor problems. And at the moment, he's running centre field in this 25-lapper. Into the back straight once more. Running off now the final laps of tonight's main. Repeating out in front is Skip Jackson. Stephen Gall, after a spin, went to the back of the field and is continuing on in the race, back with Todd Wanless. But here you can see the race leader, Skip Jackson, in car number 7. Second week in a row, the car's smoking badly, but certainly the performance has not been diminished in any way. Uh-oh, Gary Rush. Well, how did Rushy do that?
Bad luck for our series leader.
I think he might be going back into the field, but very unusual to see Rushy do that. Yes, he restarts.
But it's good luck for Peter Kraft, who seemed to have dropped off the pace and now gets a chance in the restart to get right up behind Skip Jackson.
You're spot on, Phil. We've got Jackson, we've got Kraft, and there you see Robert Farr now slipping into third spot. What a race to the wire this is going to be. I think there's only a couple of laps left in it. Jackson comes off the top turn, goes for it in the main straight. Kraft is under assault on the outside by Robbie Farr. I don't think Kraft is going to give up this position. He's fought too hard for it tonight.
Great restart from Skip Jackson. He sure did bolt.
And it's a great drive also from Robert Farr. Robert Farr, who had to start back in position number 14. 1 lap to go down the back straight. It's Farr on the outside of Peter Kraft. Will Kraft yield ground? Jackson comes to the main straight to claim victory. Jackson's home first, and by a whisker, it's Peter Kraft for second, and Robert Farr home for third. Well, Jackson, 2 weeks in a row the winner, and Peter Kraft, 2 weeks in a row, home second. Robert Farr tonight claiming third. Great feature race into the main straight. And there's Peter Kraft's car as number 7 pulls up alongside Skip Jackson. Well, putting 2 wins back-to-back. Robbie Farr, give me a 5. That's Peter Kraft's crew congratulating him.
And that puts Robbie Farr only 1 point away from the series leader, Gary Rush.
Well, trust you enjoyed the exciting action in today's edition of Speed Week. Why Florrie gives Skip a kiss. We'll see you next Saturday.